Yeah, I wanted to be here. It was simple as that. I wanted to be in Boston. Winning in Boston is different, and I haven't won anything yet. But for me, like over these last 2 months, the baseball we're playing, the fans, the way they show up every night, it's amazing. It's a place like no other. And for me, it was simple. I just wanted to be here. I wanted to play baseball in Boston for a long time.
All right, time now for Carrying the Load. It is presented by the Chevy Silverado. Craig Breslow has been locking guys up. This marks his 5th contract extension and 4th. That comes before arbitration. In addition to Roman Anthony, he has signed Ceddanne Rafaela, Christian Campbell, Garrett Crochet, and Brian Bayo. This leads us into our deep dive as we welcome Chris Cotillo from Mass Live. He is down there at Fenway Park. We also have Phil Perry here in studio. Chris, I will start with you. What did you think when you heard about the Roman Anthony extension?
Yeah, Trenni, I mean, shocked. I think it was one of those things that they've been thinking about and wanting to do for a long time, but there was no word that they were close or that they were working on it. He just said here they were aggressive with their Breslow said they were aggressive with an offer. Anthony said it happened quick. So, to me, he always seemed like a guy that was going to go year to year and maybe hit free agency in a few, but he wanted to be here. They hit a number that he wanted, and I think it's a really good day for the Red Sox. You pair that with the way they're playing right now, the excitement, and it's kind of at a fever pitch. No bad pun intended.
Phil, do you think it's a good day for the Red Sox? Because listen, I love this deal for Roman Anthony. If you're him, this is a win-win, right? Like you have yourself $130 million guaranteed. You could possibly get $100 million more in escalators before you've even played half a season. He's played a whopping 46 games in the majors. But to me, Phil, this is just another Red Sox move that looks more like something the Tampa Bay Rays would do, which is let's not wait until our guy and see what he can do and lock him up long term once we have an idea of what type of player he's going to be. And he's going to cost us maybe $400 million. No, let's get him for $130 million so we can get him at a bargain basement discount.
Yeah, well, I won't dispute the fact that, if their sights are set on saving money, like I don't care about that. Like that, it's not my money. They have all the money in the world to spend. We've been over that 1,000 times over. This is, I think Chris understates it when he says a really good day for the Red. Like this is a tremendous day for the Red Sox. I don't care how many games Roman Anthony has played, 46, whatever. He's near the top of the league in on-base percentage. He's near the top of the league in doubles since he's been up. If you want to really dig into the nerdy stats, he's near the top of the league in hard hit percentage. In terms of finding the barrel, he's one of the best in the league already. And he's 21 years old. I'm stunned that he did the deal. Chris, that was my first reaction. It was kind of like, and listen, all the power to them. You never have any idea what people want in their hearts, what's going on in their families, their desires. It's their deal. But my first reaction was, why did he do that? Because if he had played this out a little bit longer, I think he's the kind of player who could be making Juan Soto money in the near future. And instead, he's taking it now and thereby making a little less.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is that if he is the player that people expect him to be and he expects to be, he can hit free agency at, 31, and he will at that point be able to cash in a big way and get that 8-9 year mega deal in free agency and also have, somewhere between 130 million and 230 million that he's earned on this one. So it's not the type of deal that takes him to age 38, 39, like we've seen, people look at the Xander deal or some of these Bryce Harper or Machado. This is a deal that takes him to 30, 31 when he's in the prime of his career, and he can cash in free agency. And I also think another factor, the CBA, there's a lot of uncertainty about a lockout in a couple of years. Guys might be more willing to do this because they want to guarantee that money now.
Oh, that I did not know the labor part of that. That's an interesting reason for Anthony, because I, too, was like, why would he do this now? He could probably make 2 to 3 times this if he just waits a year and a half or 2 years. Is there any concern, Chris, or should there be any concern that he has only played 46 games in the majors? We've now seen Marcelo Meyer go down with a wrist injury. Christian Campbell, after a hot start, really tailed off and had to be sent back down to the minors. He, of course, signed a contract extension before he'd even played a game in the big leagues. I do feel like there is some risk in this for the Red Sox, especially for a guy who just missed 2 games with back spasms.
Yeah, I mean, I think the risk is really minimized when you do a deal like this. Any of these pre-arb deals, the CBT hit, which is really all that matters. It matters compared to, what the caps are, and we've seen that come into play the last few years. It's only going to be about $16 million for the season, each season over the course of this deal. That is, for a team like the Red Sox who wants to spend 240, 250 or more million, that's really a drop in the bucket. And the same with Rafaela's deal, and the same with Bayo's deal, and Campbell. You know, when it's spread out like that and it's based on average annual value, it really can't kill you as a team. And I think that's the benefit of doing these now. You know, next year he would have made 700,000, 800,000. Instead, the CBT hit's going to be 16 million. But let's say he's a superstar like we expect him to be in 2030, and that hit is 16 million instead of 30, 35, 40. It's going to look great then. So I think the risk is really minimized for clubs when they do these types of deals. The risk, as you guys talked about, is really more on Roman Anthony. Those escalators, kind of give him room to make a lot more money, but he has to win MVP and be an all-star like every year. So complicated deal for sure, but one that, like all of these, has downside, has risk for everybody.
Phil, we've been, I think fair but tough on Craig Breslow on this show. But one thing he has been able to do is convince guys that this is the place they should be, and whatever they're building, that it's something they should want to be a part of, because he's now, as we showed, locked up 5 guys, including 4 pre-arbitration eligible players. Is that one thing that you can say, hey, this is something that he really does well, Craig Breslow, is convincing guys to stick around and negotiating these deals for core players?
Yeah, I mean, Trenni, fairness is my middle name. I've been incredibly critical of Craig Breslow, but it's hard to say that this wasn't a great move by Craig Breslow. The thing that does concern me, and I think should concern Red Sox fans, is that the fact that these are sort of the staple Craig Breslow moves like locking up Roman Anthony, as good as that will be, in my opinion, for them long term. Locking up Christian Campbell long term. What about the team this year? Can we make some moves to make the team good this year? That has been painfully lacking, in my opinion. And to me, it speaks to their long-term view. I've said all year long, Chris, I don't think their goal was to win in a significant way this season. I think they're waiting. They're waiting. They're biding their time until guys like Anthony, maybe Campbell, Meyer sort of come of age and they're ready to be the core of a championship caliber team before they start to go all in and make the kinds of deadline deals that we all want. It's just frustrating that they aren't willing to do it now with a team that looks pretty damn good.
Chris, do you think they can win this year, even if that wasn't the plan? Is this a team that has a legitimate chance of going deep into the postseason, or is this a team that's probably going to make the wild card? I mean, they've got the 2.5 game lead in the wild card race, and not do much after that.
I mean, if you look at the rest of the American League, the Red Sox are 2-3 games off the best record in the league. There's no team at this point. The Tigers have come back down to earth. The Blue Jays, I think, have exceeded expectations all year. The Yankees, obviously, now below the Red Sox in the standings in a slide. There's a lot of teams that are right in that middle. And so there's no team coming out of the AL, I think, that stands out as a head and shoulders team. Look at Houston over the 3 days this weekend, where the Red Sox looked much better and like they were overmatched for Houston, who was swept here. So I think there's just kind of that mushy middle of a lot of teams that could get in. Alex Cora likes to say, you get in the dance, you never know what's going to happen. I think the key for the Red Sox will be, those 3 starting pitchers, Crochet, Giolito, and Bayo. The sample size is big enough now to know that Giolito and Bayo have been really good for a prolonged stretch. It looks like a legitimate 3-headed monster. If any of those guys get hurt, it could be a slippery slope. But in a best of 3, best of 5, this team is going to have a chance. They put the ball in play more than they did at the beginning of the year. They're pitching more importantly, and, they're dynamic and exciting. And a lot of it is because of what Anthony has given the lineup, and now in the leadoff spot especially.